We've been following very closely the Arab and Muslim revolt against Joe Biden's 2024 candidacy, which has really spread across multiple swing states now, but the epicenter of that earthquake, if you will, is in the state of Michigan. Now, we covered last week how the Arab leaders didn't want him coming. They weren't interested in having a conversation with him. Biden traveled to the state anyway to meet with auto workers, not with Arab leaders. But the White House anticipated some run-ins and some protests. And so here is Karine Jean-Pierre with her message to the Arab community in Michigan in advance of Joe Biden's visit.
The president has faced a lot of criticism in Michigan from the Arab American community. What does he say? What's his message to them, those who feel disenchanted by the Gaza operation?
So a couple of things. Obviously, as Armour was asking me, tomorrow he's going to be going to Michigan. It's going to be a political organized trip that is going to be done by the campaign. So any itinerary or pieces like that are related to that particular trip, the campaign could answer to that more broadly, obviously. But what I would want to say is that the president has met with Americans with varying opinions about the conflict that we're seeing, sadly, in Israel and Hamas. Officials at the White House have had numerous conversations and in regular contact with Muslim and Arab Americans, leaders in Michigan and across the country. Hopefully Sam is okay. Get some water. Concerned for him. Look, the president's going to continues to believe that Israel has a right to defend himself. They have a right to defend itself as long as they continue. It is done in accordance of international humanitarian law. So
I love that. Did you see that? Did you see that slip up? First of all, look how nervous she is. Karine Jean-Pierre, she comes out of MoveOn.org. She's probably to the left of Joe Biden. I'm sure she has a lot of, SJW, like progressive sensibilities. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And a lot of those SJW types are out on the streets protesting for a ceasefire. So I think she's pretty against what she's saying right now. You could tell she's sort of stammering and backing up and very hesitant. She seems pretty nervous, but look at what she says here.
Look, the president's going to continues to believe that Israel has a right to defend himself. They have a right to defend itself as long as they continue. It is done in accordance of humanitarian.
As long as they continue, as long as it is done in accordance with humanitarian and international law. She started to say, as long as they continue to abide by international law, but she can't say that, can she? Because they're not abiding by international law. So she starts saying, yeah, they have the right to defend themselves as long as they continue doing it the right way, but we can't really say that, right? Because they're not doing it the right way. So then she has to backtrack and say, as long as they abide by international law. And therein lies the issue, right? That's why the Arab voters see through you as easily as they do, because you can't even complete a sentence where you say, yeah, they have the right to defend themselves as long as they keep doing it in accordance with international law. Not even the press secretary could utter that sentence because she knew she would get roasted if she said that. So she had to backtrack on that. So Biden did go to Michigan, and he did meet with auto workers. Biden visits Michigan amid Arab community's anger over Israel-Gaza war. From the Washington Post, President Biden made his first campaign visit to Michigan on Thursday, meeting with members of the United Auto Workers Union and visiting a black-owned restaurant while studiously avoiding any interaction with the large Arab American community in this state, which has been outraged over U.S. support for Israel's war in Gaza. Top Michigan Democrats have pressed Biden for months to spend more time campaigning in their state, but officials have been worried about his visit being overshadowed or interrupted by demonstrators. More on that in a moment. On Thursday, Biden officials took steps to keep his visit more secretive than usual. This reminds me a lot of the Hillary Clinton campaign in 2016 for a different reason, obviously. But in the 2016 race, She went to Michigan, once or twice, didn't go to Wisconsin at all, and I think she went to Michigan once. And the reason they gave was that they didn't want to hype her in Michigan because they didn't want to remind people of the election, because they knew the more that the Michiganders were exposed to her, the more they would hate her. And so a similar thing going on right now. On Thursday, Biden officials took steps to keep his visit more secretive than usual. They did not publicize the location of his events, and the president's motorcade avoided protesters by using side streets. But
somebody, I just want to mention before we run past that, I don't remember who did the article, but that was an article somebody put out during the primary struggle, showing, with Hillary and Bernie, showing that in her political history, which up to that point was just the Senate, it demonstrated whenever Hillary Clinton campaigned, her numbers went down.
Yes. Yeah. Whenever she campaigned, her numbers went down. The more she got out there, the less
more people saw, the less
people
they liked.
Exactly. Yeah. But the visit was not entirely free of confrontation. While Biden was holding a political meeting at a restaurant, a group of protesters chanted, "Shame on you, Genocide Joe, and how many kids did you kill today?" The last phrase echoed chants that were aimed at President Lyndon B. Johnson during the Vietnam War. LBJ, LBJ, how many kids did you kill today? So let's go to a little videotape of some of the demonstrations against Joe Biden during his trip to Michigan.
Joe Biden! Fuck 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 Joe Biden!
Here's another group. They got the Genocide Joe truck. Vote uncommitted Tuesday, February 27th. That's the state primary. But then obviously they're organizing an uncommitted vote for November as well. That's the big push. In Michigan, which has one of the nation's largest Arab American and Muslim populations, with about 300,000 people who claim ancestry from the Middle East or North Africa, the war in Gaza has consumed the community. Many have turned on the president as a result of his unwavering support for Israel and what they see as a lack of empathy for the Palestinians, leaders and residents say. Some Michigan Arabs and Muslims have launched an Abandon Biden campaign, part of a broader national effort encouraging members of their community not to vote for Biden. The Biden campaign did not answer questions about why the president did not engage with members of the Arab American or Muslim communities during his visit on Thursday. Well, CNN interacted with some of them.
Avocadoosh makes him gassy.
Yeah, right. Exactly. That was the excuse. CNN caught up with a former Biden field organizer. So not just a Biden voter, but a Biden campaigner, someone who worked with the campaign in 2020. Here's a brief snippet of that.
He's just not somebody that I can trust.
Adam Abu Salah worked as a field organizer for the Biden campaign 4 years ago. He said he will not vote for the president again, seeing him as complicit in deaths of innocent Palestinians.
By taking this stand, do you wonder if it will help elect Donald Trump?
It probably will. We have seen 4 years of Trump. We have seen 4 years of Biden, and people don't really see a difference between their presidency.
Love that. Love that. I love that he had the guts to say it probably will. Because I always thought it was weak sauce when people would say, yeah, no, I'm not helping Trump win by boycotting the president. It's not my fault. No, you have to go all the way. You have to say, yeah, sure, probably will help Trump win. In a swing state that's going to be decided by, I mean, in 2016, Michigan was the closest state in the country. It was 10,000 votes. Then Biden won it slightly more handily in 2020, but 300,000 Arab votes is still enough to be the difference maker a couple times over in that state, the way it's likely to go. And good on this guy for being like, yeah, no, us boycotting probably will hand the election to Donald Trump. We don't care. That's right. Where power comes from. Power doesn't come from coming up with some excuse about how, no, it's not our fault that Trump wins.
We need a seat at the table.
Right. Or even if you're going to boycott, but then try and blame Trump's election on something else. No, you want blame. Blame is credit. That's a flex. Blame is credit, right? Blame is what gives you power. When they blame you for swinging the election, they are giving you power. When you deny that you had anything, well, don't blame me. It's not my fault, Trump. you're taking your power away. You want to be the difference maker, right? Every voter should want to be the difference maker between red team winning and blue team winning. Whoever makes the difference is the most powerful voter in the country. Everybody should want that. Everybody should want that. You don't deny that. Don't push that away. And we've seen over and over and over again.
Well,
progressives, no, it's not our fault. You have to come for our vote. Don't feel entitled to our vote. No, fuck that. Say yes. Yes, we're likely to swing the election to Trump, and we don't care. See how they react to that. I know how they react to that because I've said that to these people. They don't like that. They expect you to squirm. They expect you to try and wiggle out of any responsibility for a Trump win. No. You sit back and you say, yes, we are going to swing the election to Trump.
Well, this is why Roe v. Wade got overturned. Because for 2 generations, the Christian right said, fuck it, we'll let the Democrats win.
Right.
If you don't serve our agenda.
Yep.
And that's how they got what they wanted.
Yep.
Right? I don't like what they wanted, but tactically, they were correct. They always made it very clear, if you do not deliver on our issues. I mean, over time, they got more and more radical. At first, lip service was enough, but then when they saw that Republicans like Bush the First were just paying lip service and weren't going to actually deliver, by the time you get to Bush the Second, they've made it clear, no, we'll just not vote for you if you don't actually do it. And that was how they got their justices, and that's how we got here. If the left doesn't do that, you're never going to have any control. And granted, you're going to get a kind of shit from the media and the establishment at a whole different level. But if you can't take that, man, you deserve what you get from the political system. Fuck them. Fuck them. Everything and this is part of what Donald Trump clearly does understand and understood from the beginning. There is no downside in popularity to being hated by the media. Right. Absolutely none. You look at, we were talking about that Ben Shapiro video, and he's the rapper who I've never heard of. It's not my kind of music. But he says in the video, in his lyrics, I think, he says he's the most successful independent rapper. And I looked at his numbers, man. Yeah, he's got videos there that are freaking doing better than things that get released by record companies. So why is he not with a label? Because he's a conservative rapper, but it's not hurting him. He's got freaking tens of millions of views on his stuff. Yeah, there is no downside, especially given that it's very difficult for them to really gatekeep you out of the conversation now.
Right.
There's no downside to getting their scorn.
Right. Exactly. Because there's not just one conversation to be had anymore. There's all different kinds of ecosystems.
Please clap.